Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Sir Cypher here, and this is another game I played recently of a Wargame Airland battle. And I actually kind of want to show this game with the HUD off, so I'm not really actually going to be able to describe like what's going on a grand scale, but I think this game looks really pretty. And you don't really get a chance to see that normally because you're just looking at all of these icons, and especially during a game you're not really looking at actual units. So but basically this is the same map as that last game I played, except that we're on the other side now. And again, like that other game, I'm gonna go for Foxtrot and Kilo and Hotel, but let's just play this without the HUD. And you can see, though, I don't know, it just looks really cool because you see how small everything really is, and the scale of this map, and just how cool it looks of all these little armored columns. We can also see the packed units. We've got guys cruising down these roads. I think we've got, what is this? Some sort of, well, it looks like he's actually stuck in the bridge, so that's not very good graphics. But for some reason the bridge, there we go, okay. Wonder why when you look at the bridge really close, who knows, but we have our stuff moving around. You can see how pretty the little helicopters look. That's Huey. We've got Super Cobra over here, chopping around through the air. Stinger Kiowa. Being cool. And then, yeah, I don't know. I think this game looks really, really pretty. You see here, I noticed that there was these enemy choppers trying to do a little sneaky drop here, and my it's shooting at me with its door gun. But my scout Kiowa, or my Stinger Kiowa, it's got some crazy maneuvers, and I managed to shoot it down. And you see it, my guys are landing in the woods here. Over here, one of my allies also looks like he has a pretty solid helicopter base pushed. These are Puma Pirates. They have a 20mm cannon in the door, and they can also transport infantry. So they're a pretty good infantry transport because they can shoot down most of their helicopters. Looks like a helicopter crashed in the water over here. They can shoot down most of their helicopters, and also like light infantry and stuff that tries to stop them. So here we have an armored convoy coming down the road, getting blasted by these pirates. We have the BMP here firing back. No, it looks like the pact is, well, I don't know, it looks like a lot of these guys are getting blown up. We do have support here coming from the pirates as they fall out of the sky everywhere with more vehicles. Although it looks like all these transports got blown up here. Not sure what's actually firing these ATGMs. Oh, it's these bad. No, these are anti-air. Oh, it's this. So they're fighting along that road there. We have a push up here north with a bunch of autocannon tanks and marked Soviet tanks. I think these are T-72s. I'm not sure. I'm really bad. I can't really identify. I can't really identify Soviet tanks unless it tells me the name. These guys try and rush up here, but we've got a bunch of French tanks on this ridge here, and they managed to take him out. French tanks are pretty good. They have pretty accurate guns, and they have good rates of fire. The problem is they just don't have very good armor. And again, we have the ubiquitous Super Cobra over here of mine. I really like Super Cobras. These are ATGM Jeeps. I forget what they are. I think they're the French ones. The problem is like any other Jeeps. If something hits them, they're dead. And you can see him. You can see us watching all these guys coming across here from across this pass. The carnage kind of continues over here. One problem with the HUD off is you can't really almost even tell where some of the units are. So can't even imagine if this happened in real life. Keeping control of all of these stuff on the battlefield and knowing where everything is would be quite problematic. See an enemy plane. Flies over here and drops some bombs, but I don't think he actually manages to kill anything. Nope, the Jeep survives. It's just so pretty. We have a oh, it's dead. Russian tanks are particularly deadly at range compared to NATO tanks, because basically all Russian tanks that are any good carry ATGMs, anti-tank guided missiles, so they're able to engage enemies like way outside the range of most NATO tanks. Cluster bombs dropped on these houses, but the cluster bombs in this game are only anti-tank cluster bombs. There's no anti-infantry cluster bombs. So, some burnt out AA. They kind of bomb drop. There's no anti-infantry cluster bombs. So dropping cluster bombs, you can see here these are the explosions from cluster bombs. Dropping cluster bombs on garrison infantry doesn't really do anything. More cluster bombs being dropped, but again, I'm not even sure if there are any infantry in these houses. There are, but cluster bombs don't do anything. Although these are red barrels here. This is a video game, so those should explode when hit. So you can see here everybody communicating. This right here is, I forget what it's called, but it's the Russian heavy supply chopper. And it's huge, and it carries so many supplies. It carries 5,000 units of supply, which is half of a forward operating base, which is pretty crazy. But it's also really expensive, so if it gets shot, it's worth like 150 points. You see just how many freaking rotor blades this thing has. We have here, I think these are Strelas. I don't know, but these are more anti-air. As over here, we have a BMPT, which is sort of like a support tank. It's not meant to fight other tanks. It's meant to help tanks support infantry. And it's very heavily armored. Has a wide variety of weapons. It's pretty brutal. You can see here it's shooting its automatic grenade launcher into the woods. It also has a 100mm cannon and I think a 30mm cannon. So they're pretty good at clearing out infantry out of woods because they have 15 front armor, and most handheld infantry anti-tank weapons don't have over 15 penetration, so they don't really do that much to the BMPT. But right now it's pointing its side. This infantry in these woods, it just got blown straight through by whatever infantry is in here. I don't think there's anything too exciting happening over here. the enemy had some stuff sitting in the middle of the road here, so I'm dropping mortars on it. I have my MBT-70 here, watching over here, and we see over here all these autocannons chasing off these helicopters. Were these my helicopters? No. But as you noticed last game, the other game when I was playing here, I made sure to take this ridge line, because as you can see, it's really hard to get across this river if your opponent has this ridge line. You have here some Strels, which I think just shot down my recon chopper. But in return, they're going to take a mortar barrage. See here the enemy dropping artillery on my M1A1 here, or not my M1. This is just normal Abrams, which disappeared for some reason. Oh, I think it's just I just called it in there. And you see the sympathetic explosion of a Nighthawk bomb that ended up destroying 2 of these anti-air anti-air vehicles. You can see here the Hempt supplying the front lines. In real life, these only carry fuel. They're fuel trucks, but in this game, they carry everything. Still kind of a meat grinder over here. With most Soviet tanks coming up in here. We have lots of NATO aircraft here coming in and dropping missiles on all these guys. And here we have a Akula, the Black Shark. It's the Russian sort of like advanced attack helicopter. Doesn't carry nearly as many missiles as the Heinz, but it's fast, it has stealth, and it also carries anti-air missiles. Hear that missile shooting down a NATO plane. Looks like an A-10. Hidden mid-flight. It's kind of funny when you zoom out. You can see like all the little forest fires and stuff from all of the burning stuff. The enemy has dropped so many cluster bombs on this town. I don't think they realize cluster bombs don't hurt infantry. In real life, they obviously make submunitions that hurt infantry, but all of the cluster bombs in this game are they have anti-tank bomblets to drop on the top of a tank, so they don't really do that much against infantry. See here my MBT-70 having an artillery, or having a duel with these Soviet, I think they're T-64s down there. While we have incoming artillery fire. One problem with the MBT-70, which I forget about sometimes, is if a tank has anti-tank missiles and a gun, if it's in range of its gun, it won't shoot its missiles, because normally the missiles are longer range and it tries to conserve ammo for them. But the MBT-70 has a really crap main gun, so you basically want to shoot the missiles all the time. So here we have its big brother, the Abrams, up to hopefully avenge it. And you can see it. It's actually this is actually a very good position for the Abrams. It's top down, fighting these enemy vehicles. And you see it takes out one, and I think there's one more. As they fight a tank duel here. I'm not actually sure if this enemy tank can even see my Abrams. I don't think it can. I think my Abrams is in too good of a position. If my Abrams can ever hit it. We gotta go back to, my tank's gotta go back to gunnery school here. The M1A1 would has a better chance and a better gun. But the M1 is the cheapest like tank America has. It's decently armored, so I like it for that. You see, finally here we blow the top off, or we don't blow the top off, but we blow it up. This enemy tank here, and you can see all the incoming fire around my Abrams. Poor MBT-70. So over here, looks like the fighting is still going. I have a Super Cobra here. The enemy, my ally has some helicopter missile carriers as well. That's my Super Cobra. Super Cobra hides behind this tree. I'm waiting for another target. We have another A-10 here, getting shot down. Is that an A-10? No, it's something else. A-10s are tough in this game. That's an A. No, yeah, it is. A-10s are tough in this game, but the problem is they can still get shot down pretty easily. You want to make sure that the enemy doesn't have very much AA when you call them in for attack runs. I don't really like A-10s. I like planes that have bombs, because then they drop their bombs and they leave. So normally by the time the bombs are hitting the enemy, your plane's already on its way out of there. So here my Super Cobra has been spotted and crashes behind this tree, and looks like we gotta get these other helicopters out of there as they dodge a missile. Not actually even sure what's shooting at them. Oh, Bucks. Okay, no wonder. Bucks are serious business. Missiles have a HE rating like anything else, and the more powerful long-range missiles can snipe a lot of helicopters and planes with a single shot. Bucks are a pretty big culprit for that. Whereas things like a Stinger, like man-portable missiles, tend not to be very good. Why is this guy driving his Bucks forward? As we get into a little collision here with this truck. Have tanks getting hit by ATGMs and such. Looks like the French have a pretty good position in this forest here. As they also drop artillery on these guys. This used to be a majestic forest, but it's gotten so much napalm dropped on it that it's now just a bunch of scraggly bushes. See here we have some Abrams who are starting to advance, but they're pretty obviously flanked. These are M1A1 Abrams. We have cluster bombs just dropped on them, which are going to damage them quite a bit. Cluster bombs aren't terribly effective. Some bombs dropped. Cluster bombs aren't terribly effective against heavy tanks, but they will shake them and damage them and allow for your other stuff to get through. What cluster bombs are really good against are light vehicles. So like columns of APCs, stuff like that. Cluster bombs will just murder. So a bunch of ATGMs coming in, but Abrams M1A1s have pretty good armor, so they can take quite a few hits. That tank took one too many. So did that one. They were driving backwards because if M1A1s have pretty good stabilizers, so they can drive backwards and still hit stuff, whereas most tanks can't. Here we have my Seahawk. I think Seahawks look really cool. Just hovering over these trees here and shooting missiles and stuff, but it's all its missiles are gone. Over here, looks like the enemy dropped smoke to try and advance upon this position. So you see here they have some more tanks coming here. Over here, their pesky artillery is in a artillery duel with me, but it looks like most of it is dead now. So we have one tank taken out. They're trying to take this hill, but tanks unsupported are pretty vulnerable. There we have a Law, the M72 anti-tank weapon, shot by my rangers out of these woods. These tanks are shooting at them with their weapons, but obviously the rangers are in pretty good cover. And there we have my my M1 peeking over the side there to take that guy out. Most of the action is over here, though. Besides that guy trying to get across the river every like 5-10 minutes, which he's not going to. Spoiler alert, the enemy is really pushing over here. But my ally has a lot of guys, it looks like, in this forest. This tank's been here like a long time, which is going to make it hard for the enemy to push through. We have a giant mass of helicopters over there, so this is I think this is an ATGM carrier. So we have supply trucks. This is a scout helicopter. French tanks are pretty quick, so they're easy to redeploy, but they tend to be kind of like glass cannons. There's so many rockets coming in from these Russian attack helicopters here. They just seem to be destroying all these guys just by weight of fire. And these tanks can't really shoot back, so there's that. I think they just plan to come over here and drop their missiles and leave. I think my Super Cobra shoots one down there. You can see here all these rockets. This little pinprick in the distance is a Seahawk. Once again, I had Seahawks this entire game hiding in this forest, sniping at guys. So you can see right here, this guy has an impromptu supply station here. You see planes flying all over the place. Anti-air coming. And that little arrowhead right there is a Nighthawk, which is going to destroy most of these choppers on the ground. Well, that one got away. He's lucky. We have here a crashed. This is an F-14. Over on this side of the map, I don't know, I think things are still pretty quiet. I just have mortars here, which aren't particularly powerful, but they're good for destroying enemy light vehicles. because they don't take very much supply, so you can just shoot them the whole game, and you don't really have to worry about keeping them too supplied. Which is why I like them. And they're cheap, so if the enemy kills your mortars, it's like, you know, not that many points. Here we have some heavy hogs here, shooting at some guys in the city, where they get attacked by some Russian air superiority fighters, which are going to have to fly through our AA defense network and get chased down by our own interceptors. But they still might make it out of there. I don't actually see what happened there. A bomb dropped by one of our planes to take out an enemy tank. And here we have some more BMPTs, which I guess got trapped in this like alleyway here. They got killed by these helicopters. Heavy hogs have 40mm automatic grenade launchers, and they're pretty useful. And when you see the units frozen like that, it means that somebody's calling units in there. There goes just a normal Cobra as it crashes in this forest and knocks down some trees. We have an attack from enemy, actually very expensive enemy helicopters, and it looks like